Welcome to the Cluster API Provider AWS office hours on Monday, the 29th of September. This is part of SIG Cluster Lifecycle, and page two is just going off. We abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which basically boils down and just be nice to each other. Please, can you add your name to the list of attendees in the meeting notes document, and also any agenda items that you would like to discuss. Also, just a reminder that we use the raise hand feature, it's not features, in Zoom if you'd like to talk, although there's only a small number of us, so we can probably do away with the more formal approach and just unmute and talk as and when we need it. So yeah, if you could do those now, just in case any of the agenda items change.
Wait, how are we putting our names down in bullet points or all in one line?
Yeah, works all in one line for people at the same company.
Okay, sorry.
That's all good. Cool. So we can get started with the agenda items. So there are no PSAs this week. And if I moving on to the action items from last week, we didn't actually record any action items in, not last week, 2 weeks ago, in the list, but I think there were a few questions around just checking some things with like the Ubuntu canonical AMIs if they use Node ADM. But I don't think we recorded that as an action item. But action item here, known to confirm this is possible with Prow. I believe this was Pankaj, go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Richard. So I think I took that action item upon me. I verified with Canonical team internally as well at AWS. They do not use Node ADM. They are still on bootstrap.sh.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for doing that. That's
Yeah.
really helpful. Okay, I'll try and type notes as we go along. And there was a question around sub owners and doing /approve. I think we looked into this, especially in relation to test infra. And the only way this is possible is if you do auto approve and then just allow the one just LGTM. And that is just basically a single approval to merge. Whereas we use the, I guess, two-person approval. So this wouldn't work in that scenario, but I think we will probably come back to this discussion based on the agenda items. So going back to the agenda items, Fike, you have the first one.
That one was a follow-up from the discussion last week or 2 weeks ago about Node ADM. It was previously in a Google Doc, this proposal, and after kind of talking it over with you folks, there were some good points raised to add to this KEP. So first of all, I put it into like the KEP format, um, you know, all of the KEPy like things. And there was also request to talk about upgrades. So I had a section about how upgrades would work. I think Nolan made that request. So that's all there. I think the next part of the KEP is just to kind of like get it merged in, and then we can decide on more of the implementation details if the KEP goes through to accepted and implementing. But yeah, I'd like to know some follow-ups on that.
Brilliant. So I'd say, as I guess it's been around at least for 2 weeks in Google Doc or in PR form. Do we want to set a lazy consensus date for this to merge. So if people give people maybe like the rest of this week to comment on it, but then if there are no more further comments, we merge. Don't necessarily want to delay things, do we? Be keen to see what other people got. I see a thumbs up from Damiano. Daniel's nodding. So we say it'll merge on Monday, unless there are any comments that come in between now and then.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
I added a link to the EKS report PR 5553, just so that PR author is aware. I mean, yeah, I don't think any of us, intend to, discard any of the author's work, and hopefully, maybe we can reuse some of it, and well, we'll see. But yeah, if we can get word from the author, but he hasn't been active lately. But we're trying to keep the channels open.
Yep. So next Monday is the 6th, isn't it? Should we just add a note in there? October already. Crazy. Cool. Thanks, Mike and Daniel. Any more comments on that one? Doesn't sound like it. Cool. So moving on to Nolan's agenda item next. He can't make it, so he's essentially saying we need to discuss and decide when we want to support CAPI v1 beta 2 and the various other things related to that. So there is a migration guide here that talks about a bunch of changes that has been made. We have 2 open PRs. So one was started a while back that is bumping to CAPI 1.11 and various other things, and there was another one opened how long ago? Yeah, not long ago. So I guess number one is we need to, converge on a single, implementation of this. Is number one, and I guess we need to also plan for things like migrating conditions and things like that, which will have to be done as part of an API version bump. So I guess thoughts from people. Damian.
Yep. Yeah, thanks. So Nolan's not here. I think I can talk about it. I just brought it up in our stand-up earlier. So yeah, maybe Nolan thought about it too. So yeah, I was having a look at this. It looks like I had a chat with a core cluster API maintainer, and they are saying basically that core cluster API is now testing this for providers, both with and without migrating to v1 beta 2. So meaning that if you're a CAPI provider, you can either decide to use v1 beta 1 or continue using v1 beta 1 or switch over to v1 beta 2. They say they're testing both and they both work. So there might be caveats yeah, whomever is implementing this will need to read the guide, whether we go with the migration or not. That's still something required, I believe. But yeah, it is not mandatory to move over to V1 Beta 2. And I think they're going to still carry on supporting V1 Beta 1 until V1 13 or 14. So there is still plenty of time to move over. In my opinion, looking at other providers, I think CapV, which is one of the main providers in the infrastructure land, I believe they are still on V1 Beta 1. I'm also a maintainer of CapG, and I don't think we're planning to migrate to V1 Beta 2 for 1.11, for Capi 1.11. So, yeah, I would try to say that I'm leaning towards staying on V1 Beta 1 for now, because I believe Capi 1.11 is already quite a complicated bump in itself. So I would use it as a stepping stone where we remove the things that are not compatible with V1 Beta 1 anymore, and then maybe we plan switching over to V1 Beta 2 when we do the bump of Capi 112, sorry. But yeah, I'm open to hear others' opinions as well.
I guess one thing is they have published their deprecation, haven't they, of V1 Beta 1, which is August next year. So there is a potential deadline, whether that slips. So we would have to, do it at some point within the next year.
Yeah, I think next year would be probably 113 then.
But yeah, it sort of makes sense not to rush it, doesn't it? Does anyone else have any other?
Yeah, also because I believe there is going to be there are going to be several folks downstream that are still going to rely on certain things to get released, but are not yet ready to move everything tooling wise to V1 Beta 2. What I think we could do is we could maybe already write in the release notes of the newest release that we're going to do that this is still compatible with and using the V1 Beta 1 contract, but then we are planning to migrate over to V1 Beta 2 in one release or two or whatever we decide. So then we give some warning beforehand, I would say.
I guess one question I have on this is if we go down the route of also changing things like the conditions from the CAPI conditions type to the Meta V1 conditions, that is, we'd have to give notice of deprecation on that, wouldn't we? And as we are beta, we have to give how many versions or time frames and minimum deprecation period? 9 months, is it, or 3 versions?
Yeah. So we have also the V1 Beta 3 plan for Kappa, right?
Yeah.
What if we were to combine those? So we say from Kappa V1 Beta 3, that's going to be compatible with Capi V1 Beta 2. And then instead, Kappa V1 Beta 2 is compatible with Capi with V1 Beta 1. I'm not sure if that makes sense from a API perspective. Maybe we need to be compatible with all APIs all the time in a specific version if we treat them as not removed. I'm not sure about that. We will probably need to do some research, but that's also something that, if it is feasible, could be an option.
could work, couldn't it? So I guess the question now is, as we want to sort of, what we're here sort of saying is we want to delay it and maybe do it in some time, maybe in like beginning next year or something like that. Do we, I guess we've got 2 open PRs currently that is bumping things. Do we just say for the time being on those PRs, hey, we're holding off on this because we need to plan it a bit better, and discuss it and then come up with a real plan for it?
Yeah, I think so. We could maybe go off and do some research and then come back. We could maybe do even a specific call, which is not like a Kappa meeting, a normal meeting. We could just do a call specific to this because I think it might be quite complex. And I don't necessarily want to steal time to the community to talk through the whole hour about this.
Yeah, sounds good. So cool, it does sound like good.
But yeah, for now we could mention on the pull requests that we are holding off on the bump until we have clarity. Still, if we want to go ahead with the bump and not have the bump include V1 beta 2, but just being the bump with V1 beta 1, I don't think we should necessarily block until we meet. I think we could carry on, just do V1 beta 1, and then if we end up for some reason changing our mind and we want to do V1 beta 2 immediately, then we could follow up with another PR that bumps that. But for CapG, we, for example, explicitly decided to merge a PR that does Capi V1 11 and Kate's 133 as bumps, and then Go 124 as well as bumps. And then that merged. And then we kind of like discussed, should we go Capi V1 beta 2? We said no. And that could have been like a follow-up pull request. I don't think we need to block everything for that to happen. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure we need to kind of coordinate whether it's Brian or this other person doing it, or if I know you Richard expressed potentially the availability of doing the bump yourself. So yeah, maybe there is that third option as well if you're still up for it.
Yeah, we can do. Yeah, let's we start a chat with Brian and Toby, just and see what we do about these two, and maybe it's okay.
Yeah, I can open a thread. I can own opening a thread about it and ping you all in.
Sounds good. Cool. Seems like we've got a plan there. Brilliant. So if we move it on, Mohammed, you have the next agenda item.
Yes, hi Richard. So yeah, we have like mini VRs for Rosa that is really require need merge. Like a couple of them is already have like an approve from me or from one of my colleagues. So like I understand that you guys might not be all of them like aware of what is Rosa doing, but like since part of them, some of them already have an approve, so I would appreciate if someone with merge privilege can approve them so they can be merged. But there are like at least the first 3 of them already has an approve. Maybe the last 2, maybe the proposal need a bit of reading, but it's also has been for a quite time since maybe March or April. So I would appreciate if you guys can give it like an approve, so we can be able to, start having this for the next release for CAP.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Damiano.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so from Red Hat side, I did review, I think, three out of those five already. So I've expressed some of my comments and feedback on it, but I think yeah, Mohammed and the team already tackled it. So yeah, I guess what Mohammed is saying is they don't have approvership yet on those sub components as we were discussing in previous call. And yeah, I've LGTM'd on them, and they've self-approved, but they cannot basically actually add the label because they don't have subcomponent ownership. So I think yeah, we trust. If you trust us on the subcomponent, you could add the approval at least on the ones I've LGTM'd, and then I'll try and prioritize either me or Nolan. We will try and prioritize the other two. But Nolan has been out for a bit, so he hasn't been able to approve them. Otherwise, we would have already merged them.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely take a look and
Yeah,
approve
thanks,
one or two.
Damian.
I guess a
Thanks
question on
all.
that is sort of with my next item is if we just pick one of them, Rosa roles config, for example. I guess where it becomes problematic is when the changes come outside of the Rosa folders, don't they? So we could add sub owners or like here like under Rosa, but we might want to do some, I guess, refactoring. So like scopes here, maybe we have a subfolder for Rosa there as well, so we can put an owners in there so that we can try and get as many folders with sub owners for people that work on Rosa so that they can approve those. And then it's only when it I guess, strays outside into really shared code that it would require approval from a maintainer. So we could try and maybe analyze these ones and just see where the changes were, just to see if we could just do some refactoring on the layout to make that easier in the future. Because yeah, you don't want to, if it's purely a Rosa change, you don't have to wait for a maintainer, do you? Really?
Richard, I guess the mic you're using is a bit far from you, so your voice is a bit far. Like I can hear you, but it takes me like a good time, to focus. If you can, move the mic a bit toward you, your voice might be more clear. But yeah, I agree. Then so to having a subdirectory under cloud scope for Rosa that hold the Rosa stuff, that could be also. So you're saying we should do this in this BR, or maybe we can do this later on after approving this BR to refactoring, because it will require factoring other files, and this one is a really like a big BR. They want to make it more bigger.
Yeah, no, I think we could do this as a follow-up. Maybe we could analyze these PRs just to see where the changes were, and then use that to inform a follow-up PR that would do the refactor and restructure. And we could add owners at that point as well, sub-owners for those folders.
Yeah, now it's much better. I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, it was Zoom had the auto adjust the volume of your mic. Yeah. Okay. So we'll take that. I'll take that write that down as an action item so we don't forget that. So should I put us two down for that to I can't spell. I will fix my spelling afterwards. Yeah, and I'll go through those ones that are open and approve where there's already an LGTM, especially on the Rosa side. Cool. So we've covered that one. Pankaj, back to you.
Just wanted to- We can merge this PR for authentication mode. It's been open for a while. All the tests are good. The tests were not able to run after a small change. The most recent one was changing the case of authentication mode. But I think they are passing now. So if we can merge this one.
Yeah, actually there was a real issue with it, so I've pointed out where the issue was, and yeah, I think they're now fixed. So I know, Richard, you were waiting on them to be passing. If that was the only requirement for them to go ahead, I think that's fine for me. Although I have not really looked at it in depth aside from testing failures.
Yeah, that was the main thing for me. So yeah, if they're all passing now, then I think it's good that you added the squash label as well to save
Yeah.
having to do a rebase. Okay, cool. All right, I'll have a quick once over as well, and then I'll prove that as well.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Damien. Thank you, Richard.
Cool. We've come to the end of the agenda items. Are there any last minute topics anyone would like to discuss? Going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for attending, and see you all again in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thanks for
Richard,
hosting.
for hosting.